Okay, so we learned how to rig the body for walk cycle. Um, the leg should be FK, sorry, the leg should be IK, and hands should be FK. And we mentioned that we do not have to hide and shy the bone of thigh here because, let me put them next to each other. Because if we are animating the leg and sometimes this part of the body pops up, and with the help of this bone you can move the bone and fix the position. You can see that if I move it up I can fix the issue. But for this walk cycle we are going to do today, and today we are not going to fix the bone tie. We would just use the controller for legs. So now you can see that these are going to be the main things I'm going to use, the pins on body. I have them here, so I'm going to use them, the controller of the leg and bones of the leg as well, and the rest they are all their own layers, so we shouldn't touch their order. For walk cycle we always start with the keyframe here. If you take a look at this walk cycle, and you can use any other walk cycle as your reference, we have contact pose, which are our main keyframe, and we have passing pose. You can also pay attention to these two other keyframes here, but for this walk cycle I'm going to do today, for the beginning we just pay attention to contact pose and passing pose. So for contact pose, the very first thing I want to take care of would be leg and foot. So let's say my walk cycle is 2 seconds, so I put the blue anchor point on the second 2 and I press N on keyboard. To trim my work area to 2 seconds. Now I zoom in my work area as much as I can to be able to see my whole animation duration here. Yeah, this is good. For each cycle I want each movement of the foot to be 1 second, so one full cycle would be 2 seconds. So I would hover, I would put the blue anchor point in the frame 0, and I grab the controller for one of the leg. I press P to get to the position. I push the leg backward. This was too much for this character, probably this is fine. And don't worry about the fact that because when you push it backward it is kind of stretching the body. Don't worry about this for now, because knee locking is going to happen here, but we will take care of that later. For now the only thing I care about is finding a good position for the leg, so it matches the characteristic of my character and also it matches the personality. I again press P. Probably somewhere here should be good. Before I create the keyframes, I right click on them. I separate the dimensions and I create the keyframes. This keyframe would be exactly the same on second 2. So I'm going to create these keyframes again. If you want to be more precise, technically you have to put it on one frame after 2, so this frame would be exactly like this frame, and we end our animation one frame before that. But for now, in order to avoid confusion, I would put that on second 2, but technically it has to be one frame after 2. Now when we get to second 1, the position of the foot should be reversed. So I create a keyframe for x-axis, move it back, probably somewhere here is good, and for the other leg I move it forward. Let's take a look at that. And you can see that knee locking is happening here, and as I said, we will take care of it later, so we are not worried about the knee lock here. This is fine for now. So the next step would be for the leg that is going forward, in the middle of the way it has to come up. So let me create the keyframe for y-axis. In these moments, now I go to frame 12 and I push the leg. Now the front leg is going forward, so I have to move the leg up, lift the leg up. So I grab it and move it up. And I will do the same thing for the back leg in the second cycle. In the middle of the cycle, I push the leg up. There is one issue here, but before that, let me add eases. I select all of them, right click, keyframe assistant, add eases. Now the movement of the leg is much better because it takes that circular shape, that curved shape instead of a straight shape. This is much better now, but there is still one issue here. When the foot is coming, and the issue is happening here when the foot is coming down and hitting the ground. And if I take a look at the Y position of my controllers in my graph editor, you can see that here is the moment that the leg is coming down. You can see that there is a curve here. It means that the speed of the leg that it is coming down is gradually getting slower. The fact is that whenever we hit our feet on the ground, we don't slow down our feet. It just happens suddenly. So when we lift our leg, we may do that slowly, and definitely here we have to have a slow transition here, but here when we hit our leg with foot to the ground, this should happen suddenly and fast. So we do not have to have this curve. So I grab this, I click on the keyframe, grab the handle of my keyframe and make it straight line. Now you can see that I'm going to do that for the other foot. This is the moment that the foot is coming down. It has to be fast. It doesn't have to get slow. So I get rid of the curve there. Now you can see now it is much better. Definitely you can add more exaggeration to this cycle. Now I'm going to add the exaggeration to the y-axis for the front leg. If I want to add, these are the moments that you will define the personality of your character by adding these exaggerations. So now if you take a look at that, this walk cycle has one personality, and if I add exaggeration here, this walk cycle, you can see that. Take a look at the front leg. It has different personality. It hits the ground harder. So by choosing how much exaggeration you want to add, here you are actually defining the personality of your character and also the personality of that moment of walking. Now let's go to the hand. Let's touch the hands a bit. So for the left and for the front hand, for the right hand, if you remember, we had these 3 layers, and because we had the layers already separated and we wanted the hand to be FK, we didn't create any pins of them, so we are going to use the hand layer itself. So again, on the keyframes here, if you take a look at that here, the position of the hand is reversed in comparison to the position of the leg. So when the front leg is in front of the body, this hand, the same hand, is going to be in the back, and vice versa. So I go to the first frame 0, and I open the rotation of the hand. Now in this frame, the hand should be, I have to rotate it forward. Here is good. I create the keyframe. It should be the same for second 2, and for second 1 it has to be reversed. Now let's add ease to that. That makes more sense. Now let's do the other hand. For this hand, I didn't put any pins. You have to put the pin for the back hand, but because for this walk cycle I just wanted to animate the front hand, I didn't put any pin for back hand. I'm going to just apply a simple animation on this hand. But again, for your assignment, you have to completely rig it for FK. And I go to the last keyframe, copy the first keyframe, and paste it there, and add eases. Now this is much better. Before getting details to hand, let's work on the torso. And if you remember, the torso was the parent for the upper part of the body, and also for the legs as well, for the thigh. So let's find torso here. Torso is here. So again, based on our reference, when our character is in contact pose, the torso should come down, and when it is in passing pose, the torso should go up. Now the issue with this torso is that our torso is too up, so this knee locking happens. So before I animate the torso, I have to Go to the position of the torso, separate the dimensions here, go to the Y position and just push it down without creating any keyframe, because I have to be sure that the knee lock is not happening. For this leg there is a knee lock, it is still happening here. If I push it back, if I push it down a bit more, now this is too much for me. I can solve this issue in another way, because the front leg, it doesn't have the issue, just the back leg has this issue. So the way I can fix it is when my back leg is in this position, I can go to the controller of that and just push it a bit forward. Now you can see that the knee lock is not happening. Now it is much better. So as I said, the torso should be in its the most up position. I can even push it a bit. Yeah, this is good. Let me double check that. Yeah, this is good. When we are in passing pose, which is here, the torso should go up, and when we are in contact pose, the torso should come down. So in frame 12 and 1 second and 12, the torso should go up, and in frame 0, 1 second and 2 second, the torso should go down. So let's find the torso keyframe and torso level. So here is the passing pose. I am going to push it up, not that much. This is good because my character is not young, so that's fine. And again, how much your character goes up is another thing that you can define the personality of your character. Because this character is kind of tired, it's not that energetic, so I bend it a bit. This position should be good for torso. I create the keyframe here. I go to the second passing pose, create another keyframe. I just have to be sure that on the moment of these keyframes, knee lock does not happen. Now I have to go to contact pose, and the contact pose is the moment that we have to push the torso down. This is good. I copy this, paste this here, and paste it on second one. There is a knee lock still happens here. So I have to push the torso a bit down more. This is better. Now I have to update the other two keyframes. So I select in this keyframe, press Ctrl C to copy that, press Ctrl V, select the other keyframes and press Ctrl V. Now I have paste. Now it's much better. Now it's time to add eases. I select my keyframe, add eases to them. Now it's much better. Let's get back to foot here. Now for this practice, because I want to keep it simple, I'm not going to use these features of the controllers, but for your assignment you have to also use these features. And as you can see, there are stopwatch icon next to them. It means you can animate them. So again, for your assignment you have to use these features, but now because I want to keep it simple, I'm not going to use these features. I'm just going to animate the feet with its rotation attribute. So I select the controller for front leg, press R to get to rotation, and the rotation for this keyframe is fine. So the rotation for the contact poses, it has to be 0. So I go to the contact poses and create the keyframe in the passing pose. And again, here is another moment that you can define the personality of the character, when and how much of the rotation would happen here. For this character, I just go to the passing pose and rotate the foot backward, and somewhere here rotate the foot upward. I would do the same thing for the other leg. So again, I go to the contact pose moments, I create the keyframe because the rotation has to be 0 on them. Now I go to the passing pose of the back leg, I rotate it backward, and after a couple of frames I rotate it forward. I select all of them. Ease. Let's see the result. And again, we can always change them later. This looks fine for me. I just probably would move these two keyframe a bit backward. And you can see that I'm trying to keep these two cycle for both foot identical, and now it's much better. Just for these two, I believe they bend upward too much. This is not incorrect. It is not just the way I want this character to move. So maybe you have a character that you want the foot bent upward this much. This is totally fine. It's just I don't want my character in this movement to bend his foot upward this much. Now it's much better for me. But again, if you want to add exaggeration, if you want to define different personality for your character, don't hesitate to add exaggerations to them. And again, the thing we said about the foot when it comes down, the y-axis of that should be sharp in the graph editor. It's the same for the rotation in graph editor. So here, the rotation of the foot at the end, we want it to happen pretty fast at the end. So we just make it faster. Now it's much better. Now I want to fix my upper body. Let's say I'm happy with my foot and my leg. I'm done with the animation of my foot and my leg. And again, I didn't use these at all because I wanted to keep this tutorial simple. But definitely somewhere here you can see that you can use these attributes of the leg, or somewhere here you can play a bit with your heel attribute and also your toe attribute. So these are the things I expect you to play with while you are defining your character animation walk cycle, and add exaggeration to that property. Now I'm done with my leg animation. Let's find, and I do not want to play with the rotation of the torso. I prefer to keep the torso straight and go to the pins we created on body. So let's see what happens if I do the rotation of the root and also do the rotation of the torso. Rotation of the torso, I feel like it's too much for this character. Again, there's no specific rule here. If your design, if the type of your character need you to do the rotation for the torso, you have to do that. But now I practice both of them, and I found out I prefer to do the next animation with the rotation of the root instead of the torso. So when the character is in contact pose, which means frame 0, frame second 1, and frame second 2, the upper part of the body should bend forward, and when your character is in passing pose, which means frame 12 and frame 1 second and 12, the character should bend backward. So this is contact pose. So I make the character move forward a bit. Not that much. 10 should be enough. This is another contact pose. I create the next keyframe. This is another contact pose. I create the next keyframe. Now in passing pose, I have to make it reverse. This is too much. Yeah, -3 is better for me. So I go to the other passing pose, create the keyframe. This is much better now. And the amount of the rotation you choose here, the amount of exaggeration you choose here defines the personality of your character again. I didn't add that much rotation here because I feel like this amount of rotation is enough for this character. Yeah, this works for me now. But again, if you want to add more exaggeration to that, make it funny, make it crazy, and you're totally fine, you can do that. Now, based on the follow through and overlapping and dragging principles in animation, we have to do the same thing for neck and for head as well. So let's go to, we have also a pin on neck. Let me rotate that. This works for me. Before that, you can even do the same thing for chest, but for now I will skip that because I want to keep it simple. But if you want to show that this body is more flexible, you can definitely animate the chest as well. For now, I just animate the neck. So the animation of the neck is going to be exactly like the animation of the torso. So in the passing pose, the neck goes backward. In the contact pose, the neck goes forward. So it's going to be the same, but with a couple of frame of the delay. So the way I do that is I create the keyframes at first here. Probably 5 is enough. Exactly on top of the keyframe of my torso. And here -2 should be enough. In passing pose, I put -2 because the neck should go backward. Now I zoom out, and at first I select all of them, right click, create ease on them, and as I said, we have to add a couple of um, delay to that. This is good, but the issue is that if I go to the graph editor, you can see that the cycle here at second 2 it ends here. So when we go back to the beginning of the cycle, it should start at the same position, but it's not. One way you can do that is go to this and go to second 2, create a keyframe. So now we have the value of that. Select that, press Ctrl C to copy that, go to the first the frame 0, create the keyframe, press Ctrl V, and now I can get rid of this last keyframe. Now this cycle is a perfect cycle that when it ends it exactly starts at the same position. Now the direction of the line, so this line has this diagonal shape here, and it starts like this diagonal shape here. This is fine for me, this works. I just have to grab the handle and make the line more straight to be sure that the line is continuous. Now it's much better, and you can see that how smooth the neck is moving. We haven't added the rotation to head yet, so this would be our next plan. I go to neck, I go to rotation, and the rotation of the neck should happen the rotation of head should happen exactly like the rotation of neck, but with the amount of delay. For neck, the delay between neck and the upper part of the body was 3 frame. Probably for head I would make it 5 frame with upper part of the body, or 2 frame with neck. Let's find a head. So, but for the start, I again start with putting the keyframes um, on the frames that I am familiar with. So I know frame 0 is going to be contact pose. So my head should bend forward. I create the keyframe. I go to second 1, another contact pose. I go to second 2, another contact pose, and in passing pose, my head should bend backward. Probably -3 is enough. I go to the second passing pose. I press -3. I select them. Add ease to that. Now I have to move it forward, so I add the delay between my neck animation and my head animation. If I put it here on frame 3, now it's exactly at the same time of my neck animation. You can see that the main cycle of my neck animation started here. So I have to grab these again and move them 2 or 3 more frames. Now this is good. Again, I have to select that, go to the graph editor. You can see that at second 2 my cycle ends here, but when it wants to start it back, it starts at rotation 0. But when it ends, if I create the keyframe here, it ends at rotation 7. So I have to create a keyframe here, press Ctrl C to copy that, go to the first frame 0, create a keyframe, press Ctrl V. Now I can get rid of this keyframe. Now I know that these two keyframes, they are in sequence. I just have to grab the handle for both of them to make sure they are both straight lines and there's no ease between them. Now let's add before I move on, I want to change the anchor point of glass so I can add some rotation again to the glass. So this anchor point is fine if you want to animate the glass, animate the position of the glass. But for this animation, I want to animate the rotation of the glass. So I grab the anchor point and put it somewhere here. You can see that I am also checking the anchor point here. Probably somewhere here. And let's see if I add rotation, how does my glass works. This is good because I want the glass to move up like it is hanging on my ear. So again, I go to the rotation of the glass, make it 0. So frame 0 was the contact pose, so the glass should be forward, maybe 3 degrees enough. I don't want it to be too much. I go to the other contact poses and create the same keyframe. Now in frame 12 it is passing pose. I make it -3. This looks like it is working. I go to the other passing pose. I put the keyframe of -3. I select them, add ease to that, and I have to check the delay, the beginning of the delay for my head, because I want to add glass. I want to add delay between glass and head. So at frame 5, the first cycle of the head started. So I have to grab these keyframes and maybe move it 2 frames after that. 1 or 2 should be enough. And again, I select the rotation. I go to the graph editor. The same issue here. So I go to the last frame of my cycle, create a keyframe, press Ctrl C to grab the amount of that, create a keyframe here and press Ctrl V. Now I just make these, I get rid of the last keyframe. I just have to be sure these 2 handles are straight. Let's see the result. This is cool. You can do the same thing with hair, with hat. Let's do the hat. The hat is here, rotation, just like before. And the anchor point of the rotation looks fine. Let me see. The issue with this, I can't do the animation, but it shouldn't be that much because I didn't draw the hair on the head. So if it's there too much, it would be obvious that I didn't draw the whole hair. Just -2 is enough. For the passing pose, and the other passing pose -2, and in contact pose it has to go forward, and I would make it 2. So the last contact pose, rotation of 2, I select all of them, right click, keyframe assistant, ease. Now I would do the same thing like what I did with glass, but exactly I don't want the glass and the hat have the same delay with head, because I want to add variety. So glass had 2 frame delay with head. For hat I would make it 1 frame. One frame should be enough. Again, I go to the graph editor, I go to the second 2 frame, create a keyframe here. I select the keyframe, press Ctrl C, I go to the frame 0, create another keyframe, press Ctrl V, and after that I have to be sure these 2 handles are straight and get rid of the last handle and last keyframe. The hat movement is there, but because it was just too tiny, we cannot notice that. One thing I can do is I can make it even more when it comes, oh sorry, when it comes down, maybe 4 or 5. This should be 5 again. And let's go to the graph editor. This looks fine, but again I have to check the handles to be sure that my last and first handle, they are fine. Now it's much better. And you can do the movement to the start to be sure that it is fixed on the hat. And the issue that the star is not fixed on the hat is because I put the anchor point here. Before that I had to put the anchor point somewhere here. But again, because I changed the anchor point after my animation, it's not working properly, but that's fine for now. The last part, and you can do the same thing with her. We are not going to do that now because we want to keep it simple. The last part would be adding the animation to the hand. I have added the animation to arm. This is my arm rotation, which is fine. Now I have to add the animation to the elbow. We have done that before, but we are going to do that one more time. So when the arm is forward, the elbow also should bend forward. And it would be the same here again. And at first I'm doing the animation of elbow exactly on top of the keyframe of the arm, and after that I add the delay to that. And when it's backward, I would move it backward. I select them, right click, add eases. Now it's much better. Now let's add animation to hand. Again, I put the keyframe exactly on top of the other, at the same time of the other 2 keyframes for hand. but I will add delay later. This looks fine. Right click, ease. Here again, the amount of the rotation you want to apply for your hand and for your arm is going to be a feature that you can define your character's personality. This looks fine. There is one issue here. For elbow it is fine, so let's add delay for the elbow. Go to the graph editor just like before. I have to, whenever you add the delay to that, go to the last frame of your cycle, create a keyframe, go to the frame 0, create the other keyframe. Now get rid of the last keyframe here, and you just need to be sure that these two lines are straight. This is minus. Okay, apparently these are too close together. Yep, this is good. Now let's do the same thing for rotation of the hand. Here is minus 16, so I have to paste it to the frame 0, minus 16. It was minus 16. Let's copy that. Press Ctrl C and press Ctrl V. Now it has to be straight line, which is good. Okay, this is nice. Let me double check the elbow. The last frame is 4-6. I do that one more time just to be sure that I have done it correctly. Press Ctrl C here. Yeah, I missed. Now this is the correct time for the correct amount for the rotation of elbow. I just have to grab this handle and make it straight, and this handle is straight as well. Now let's add delay to the wrist. I would go to the graph editor because of exactly the same issue. I create a keyframe, select the frame, press Ctrl C, go to the frame 0, create another keyframe, press Ctrl V, and now I can get rid of this keyframe because it's extra. I just have to be sure my first and my last keyframe, their handles are straight, and I get rid of the last keyframe. This is good. You can even here, when the hand is coming backward, you can add more exaggeration to the hand. for follow through and overlapping action. And when hand is going forward, you can do the same thing. You can add more exaggeration to the hand here so it bends backward more. But for now, this looks fine. And I'm not going to animate the other hand. It's exactly the same. And again, all the exaggerations, all the details you add, it's going to define the personality of your character. You can see that all these details is going to define the story, what's happening here.